The fourth list in this section of the Satipatthana is the 7 factors of enlightenment. And with all the other lists, we can be mindful of each of the elements, and it gives us some suggestions on how to work with it. The 7 elements are, given in a particular order, is mindfulness, investigation, energy, rapture, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. Let me just say them again. Starts with mindfulness, investigation, energy, rapture, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. So this is a very, very important list in Buddhist practice, and it is sometimes taught and practiced as a sequence, a progression, and it's also a bare list of qualities. So I want to say a little about what the 7 factors is, and then we'll discuss how to use it in the context of the Satipatthana teachings. So if you're doing it, if you're practicing it as a progression, we start with mindfulness. Well, that's the whole practice we're doing here. Everything here is about mindfulness. So we use our mindful attention. And then the second was investigation. So that can be in various ways. It's putting our attention on whatever the experience is. It talks, that's part of what's included. But also the various ways we've been instructed up to now to practice is part of the investigation. Noticing certain things, rising, passing away, what's causing certain things to arise or pass away. All of these practices is part of the investigation. So we have our mindfulness, and we use that for investigation. Then we bring a certain amount of energy. First of all, we have to bring a balance of energy, but also we can get energized as we have more energy, clarity, presence. Things are happening more easily. Different manifestations of energy come as we continue practicing. And you can do practices to, as we'll see, we're recommended to do practices to notice, but actually increase the energy to the balance point we're seeking. So mindfulness, investigation, energy, and then the next is called, sometimes translated as rapture. You'll hear in Pali the word piti. It's spelled P-I-T-I, but it's a long I sound, piti. Happiness, joy, pleasure, bliss, rapture. So it becomes quite, this energetic feeling can get very pleasant as the mind is settling, the samadhi is deepening. And then at some point we continue to settle and deepen, and the pleasure kind of fades and out as we come to more of a tranquility itself. Things at first, maybe we want to have this blissful feelings, and at some point it can feel like it's a little too much, and it's more satisfying to be more quiet and tranquil. So that's the next is the tranquility. And then after that is the samadhi, we translate as concentration, the stability of mind, the undistractedness of mind. So that comes to the fore as we've really settled out. And finally, it culminates in equanimity. One way to think about maybe the whole Dharma is coming to a deepening of equanimity. It's a place of balance. Really, it's the same refrain that we've been hearing throughout the Satipatthana, abiding independent, not clinging to anything in the world. That's equanimity, I think, could be a good word for that. So how do we work in practice with this? As a progression, you can work through these elements and steps sequentially. Another way we practice is just by the fact of staying with that mindfulness of breathing practice, the very first one that we spoke about. The mind settles and the enlightenment factors grow and deepen. So sometimes we're just invited or instructed to just notice, is this enlightenment factor present or not? So again, even with the enlightenment factors, it can be prescriptive or descriptive in how we work with it. The way we're invited to work with it here is to notice if each one by one, is the enlightenment factor present, or is it not present, right? Is the mindfulness there, or sometimes it feels like it's not so much there? What's the level or amount of energy? The rapture, is it there? Maybe the tranquility, if we're too stirred up, maybe that's not so tranquil. Is the samadhi, strong, or is it not so strong? That was actually out of this third section on states of the mind. We wanted to see, is the mind concentrated or not? So these other sections are all coming into play here. So we can notice if the mindfulness, if the enlightenment factor is present or not. And then we can be aware of, again, what causes it to arise. If it faded away, if we are aware of it, we often aren't. What caused it to fade away? Sometimes it's just an energetic shift that happens and the cause isn't so obvious. And what can we do to help strengthen these and bring them to fruition? What are the practices and techniques we can do? So that's the way we're invited to practice with this group, 7 Factors of Enlightenment.